it in. Let's see. So, first, thank you for everything that you've done with your teams and your delegations so far this year. We're coming down the home stretch here, and looking forward to seeing everybody. Many of you on the phone, seeing you on Thursday, and all your delegations and such on Friday, and then throughout the weekend. Just want to make tonight's webinar. It's the whole focus is to give you what information we have and that we can share with you, and to answer any questions that you might have as we go forward. The content here is virtually identical to what was shared last Tuesday, and hopefully you'll find it useful. So we'll go through, show you some maps, the Summer Games update, just kind of walking through a few things. And actually the upcoming webinars and meetings, the webinars are all over with now, but the recordings are there, and then a question and answer. And pretty much all of the materials, all the maps and such that are in here are included in the event guide, which everyone should have received. That went out this morning. And we'll touch on that again in a minute. So here is the layout. We actually are using 3 different locations this year. This is the Towson area to orient you to the map. If you can see my cursor, this is 695, or the Baltimore Beltway. Towson is right down, if you come down Charles Street, it's Charles Street right here. It comes to Towson. This is also York Road and Delaney Valley Road if you come in that way. So here's Towson. Loyola Blakefield, which is where we'll be having our aquatics competition. Beautiful facility, is maybe half a mile away, if that far, from Towson. Much closer than when we had to go down to UMBC. And some of your coaches, I believe, were able to join us on Saturday, and they got a chance to walk through and see the facility. And my understanding is we got very positive reviews on the facility itself, so we're looking forward to having a great event at Aquatics. And then up north in Cockeysville, it's not that far away, it's a few miles, is Cockeysville Middle School, which is the location that we've been using for several years now for the off-site softball games. I believe there will be 3 fields in use, but again, tonight we're not really diving into the specifics of any sports, but it's right up there. And as we'll see when we talk about transportation in a few minutes, there's shuttle buses that go from Towson to Loyola Blakefield, as well as a shuttle bus that goes from Towson to Cockeysville Middle, so your folks can get out there. Just a little bit closer in to give you a sense of the proximity to Loyola, between Towson and Loyola Blakefield. Here you can see, again, if you can see where my cursor is, at the bottom of the screen is United Stadium. Osler Drive, which is one of the main drags through the Towson campus. This road here is Towson Town Boulevard, and just so you're just out up Towson Town, across Towson Town Boulevard, and then up Charles Street, and Loyola Blakefield is right there. You've been driving past it for years and probably didn't know it was there. So nice and close together. It actually is almost as close from the Towson Run Apartments in Tubman Hall, where actually most of our delegations will be staying. It's almost as close to there as the crow flies as it is to United Stadium. So it's again, very close proximity. This is the map of the Towson campus. Key areas for folks to know or notice. So let's start at the top here, or let's start dealing with housing and lodging. If you're staying in Tubman House or Towson Run Apartments, this building here, if you can see where the cursor is Towson Run Apartments, and then right next door is Tubman House. You'll notice they are very close to the parking garage, and at the parking garage at this corner here is where the shuttle bus to take you around campus is located. This one here, this pickup point, goes on a route around campus that we'll talk about later. Should also point out that there is a walking bridge from this newer dorm complex across Osler Drive and over to University Union. I think it actually crosses life right about where the cursor is right here and takes down. It's a nice little drive. It's a nice little walk. There is a ramp component as well, so if you have someone who utilizes a wheelchair, they can get across there. It may be quicker, quite honestly, than taking the shuttle bus, but that's your call. Also with housing, Glen Towers, we're only using 1 tower this year in the Glen complex. That's Tower D, which is located here, and the shuttle bus pickup for Tower D is where it typically has been for those of you who have been to summer games before. Right here, there's a little cut area that folks can pick up. The University Union, we're not using that for this side of campus for much, actually, other than lodging and meals. But in here is where the breakfast and dinner will be served, as well as delegation registration will be on the second floor of the University Union on Thursday afternoon. We will also have our heads of delegations meeting there. The one we'll have on Thursday evening, and then another one on Saturday. It notes here coaches meetings, and actually we've relocated those, and we've sent some information out to coaches. It's based on feedback from coaches that particularly the Friday night coaches meetings, it's difficult to get to those, to dinner, to those, and then over to the parade staging and the block party. So we're actually relocating them over on the other side of campus, where the athletics meeting will be in the field house here of Minnigan Stadium, or of United Stadium rather, right next to the Minnigan room, and then bocce and softball will be having their coaches meetings in CQ Arena in some rooms that are up on an upper level. We'll have signs and all there to lead you through. Let's see, what else have we got here? So coming over to the competition side of campus, or where the stadium is, we have United Stadium, where again athletics is there. Also, the main control center is in the field house here in the Minnigan room, overlooking the track. Around to the side here is bocce competition on the varsity soccer field. Then coming around, CQ Arena is right here with the smiley face on it, denotes special events. That's where opening ceremonies will be. Also the family reception, champions reception, media center, etc. are there within that arena or within that building. Adjacent to the Towson Center, or actually let's go to lot 20, right behind right behind CQ Arena is lot 20. Where the block party will take place. Also parade staging will take place there. Then we'll go in for opening ceremony and then come back out for the torch lighting on lot 20. And then the buses will pick up right here on Auburn Drive to take folks back to the dorms. Then next to CQ Arena is the Towson Center. Cheerleading competition will be there on Friday. As well, Olympic Park and the Victory Dance will be going on there on Saturday evening. They'll have merchandise there, and then those of you who are able to make it, we'll be having Healthy Athletes, 6 different disciplines that we'll touch on later within Healthy Athletes will be held there at the University Union. Let's see, then the only other key thing here that's relevant for most of the delegations, in addition to the competition areas, is the bus stop for off-campus buses. This is a different location than what we've used in previous years, so those of you who are coming back again after several years, this is at the end of the University Union parking garage. This is the Union here, and this is at the end of the parking garage. The area that we had used previously closer to the Union itself is being used for construction and for staging for that, and there's no way to get buses in there anymore. So this is right again at the end of the parking garage, and you can pick up your shuttle bus there. Let's see. So we saw Towson campus, Loyola Blakefield. Down here at the bottom of the map, or at the bottom of the picture, is Charles Street again. You'll come in if you're driving on your own. That is, you'll come in here. There's plenty of parking up here. This is probably the most convenient location. This is a gravel lot, but that may fill up relatively quickly. And then there's several other parking areas right along here, which are a short distance. The buses that are bringing folks over from Towson will drop off athletes right here. They're actually going to come in through through Chestnut Avenue and come in this way. We don't suggest you do that, again, because the buses will be going through there. Also, as is noted in some of the stuff in the event guide, and I think was noted in some previous communications to the coaches, please do not park on any roads on the Loyola Blakefield campus. We're concerned about the buses getting through, and even if we'll have some no parking signs up, but even if there is a no parking, if there isn't a no parking sign, rather, please tell your folks not to park anywhere there. They'll come into the main entrance here. into Knott Hall, which is the location of the aquatics facility, which is absolutely beautiful. And we think everybody will have a really enjoyable time. The one thing to note, and we've posted this a couple different times, we'll be utilizing their gymnasium to do staging, awards, etc. They only are able to cover part of the floor. It's a rubberized floor, and so they have requested that we not have folks bring in lawn chairs or camping chairs, as has been the case before, where folks can come in and set up their own little area. We will have, I think it's between 700 and 1,000 chairs dedicated specifically to be used by the delegations. So there'll be ample chairs there. We're certain of these chairs having a rubberized or a plastic bottom that's not going to gouge into the floor. That's what we're mostly concerned about there with anybody bringing in lawn chairs. So do not tell your folks, we'll send more reminders out, but do not bring lawn chairs or camping chairs to the aquatics venue. Let's see. And then Cockeysville Middle School. The actual fields are right up here for Cockeysville Middle School. This gives you a little bit of a idea of coming in. This is it's oddly oriented. I acknowledge that, but this is going north on York Road, and you can either come in off of Cranbrook Drive or Cranbrook Road to the facility, or you can go up here to Warren Road and come in this way. You can also get to Warren Road from I-83, the Harrisburg Expressway, and there's a Warren Road exit. I don't believe you can get back onto the expressway from Warren Road, but you can get off there and get to the facility that way if you're driving on your own. Again, we will be having the shuttles going throughout the time. This is just a summary of the different registration things that have already happened. Basically everything is closed at this point, with the exception of on-site registration. We are sending out additional rosters for folks that list both the overall delegation and the sport. I got 3 of them out before the call, and the remainder will go out while the recording is, it has to render itself before we can post it. So while that's going on, I'll get most, if not all, of the remaining things out to delegations. So that lists your overall delegation as well as your number of folks per sport. These are the fees that we had noted previously at $65 per delegation member. There is no standard fee for areas for day of delegation members. We do, however, charge for any supervisory personnel, that's any volunteer, coach, chaperone, etc., above a 3-to-1 ratio. There probably shouldn't be anybody in the category of that for an overnight delegation member because of the housing allotments. But if there were, or if somehow one slipped through, that's at $128, but I don't believe that there's any there. And then for the lunch costs for those day of delegation members who are above the 3-to-1 ratio, we're estimating that at $16. We actually will work out what the actual cost is and for the on-site additional cost for the folks to be there, and we'll charge that to you. And that is whether or not they pick up a lunch or not. We can't keep track of who's eating lunch and who hasn't. If they're a registered delegation member, we're assuming they're using all the services available. So let's see. Also, when the delegation list that you got, that the 3 areas have gotten today and the rest will get in, that also includes a listing of how many supervisory people we have on our records, at least, with your delegation, and how many over and how many you'd be charged full rate for. I can't tell you that the totals there, but if you think you have folks who are who should have been deleted and were not, you can't go in and delete them right now. And I need to correct something here. Sorry, this should be June 8th. Corrected it everywhere else, but missed that one. So you have until Wednesday night, or Wednesday close of business, to send an email to your regional sports director. If you see some folks listed there who really aren't supposed to be part of your delegation, somebody forgot to scratch them or delete them or whatever, you can let them know and they'll be taken off. And you won't be charged for those people if you do it by 5 o'clock on Wednesday. After 5 o'clock on Wednesday, you will be charged that full additional rate or whatever the rate is. And if I could ask folks, I'm hearing a lot of scratching in the background. If you could please mute your phone. It would be great for, we certainly do want your questions, and please do just jump in if you have a question. But it really helps minimize the background noise if you mute your phone. You can do that by either using your mute function on your phone or by pressing *6. That works for to mute and unmute. I'm not going to go into this any further here. If anybody has any questions, we can get to them at the end. The master schedule, again, there's a master schedule in the event guide that, again, everyone here should have received. But delegation registration on Thursday in the second floor lobby of the University Union. And then the HOD meeting will be in the Loch Raven room. Those of you who were with us last year, it's the same room we used there. It's a little smaller than the wide open space, but it does allow us to have a conference call option. We know of at least one head of delegation who is not able to make it to that session, and so we are offering that as an option. We strongly encourage, since almost all of you have to be there to check in anyway, to be sure to be there for the meeting. Also ask, please, only heads of delegations. There's a limited amount of space, and we really can't accommodate anybody other than the heads of delegations, the games management team members who need to be there, and any SOMD staff who need to be in there for that. So please honor that, and we appreciate your cooperation there. On Friday, we kick things off with the cheerleading competition at 10:30. Hopefully everyone will get a chance to come out and see that at the Towson Center. If you've never been to the cheerleading competition, it's a really exciting and energizing event. Family hospitality is also open there at cheerleading from 12:30 to 3:30. We have dinner from 4 to 6. The block party noted will open 5 to 7. We'll touch on that a little bit more in a few minutes. We'll also have merchandise open at the block party there. I mentioned the coaches meetings moved over to the stadium side of campus. This has exact locations to be announced, but we actually do have those, and those have gone out and will go out again to head coaches for those meetings. And hopefully folks will find it more convenient having them over on that side of campus, closer to where the opening ceremonies is getting set to go. We'll start staging for the Parade of Athletes at about 6:30, and then opening ceremonies will start right at 7:30. We estimate the indoor portion to be about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and then we'll come out for the torch lighting, and then folks will go on their way. On Saturday, breakfast starts at 6 o'clock and will go till 8:30. There are actually two different sessions, officially, if you will, for breakfast. It's aquatics and softball in the first session from 6 to about 6:45, 7 o'clock, and then bocce and athletics from 7 to 8:15. Those are rough. If your schedule doesn't allow you to follow that and you need to come to an alternate time, there's really no problem with that. If it does mean you have to bring a very large number of folks to a time different from when they should be going. So if you have, you need to, for athletics rather, I know a lot of folks like to get over to the athletics venue right at 7 o'clock when it opens up so they can warm up and use the track and such. And so they may want to go to dinner earlier. If that's 30 or 40 people, just let Matt Otwell, who will be at the HOD meeting on Thursday night, just let him know. Matt's our overall director of food and water, and he can make accommodations for that. It's really just to kind of cut down on having huge masses and huge lines of people waiting to go in. Competition, we say 8 to 5. It varies by sport for those 4 sports there throughout the day. Family hospitality, healthy athletes. Actually, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought I had put it on this as well. There's actually 2 healthy athletes options. One is, again, as you see here, from 12 to 6 at the Towson Center. We are also very pleased that we can have 2 of the stations. I think it's Fit Feet and Health Promotion. That'll be held over at the aquatics venue, and those will go from 10 till 3. And that information, again, is also in your event guide that went out. Merchandise will be open in the Towson Center for towards the tail end of Healthy Athletes and then through the evening activities, dinner, as you see there. We do have an HOD meeting from 6 to 7. And as part of the evening activities, we have both the Olympic Park and Dance from 6 to 9. There's also an evening softball game and a home run derby. Those of you who were able to get out there for the home run derby, we heard rave reviews about it last year, and we're excited to offer it again. There's also the family reception that'll be in CQ Arena from 7:30 to 8:30. That's an easy walk over from the Towson Center. Just as a warning, we realize that many delegations have family members who are serving as coaches or as chaperones and such, and we certainly do want family members to be able to participate and take part in the family reception. Just make sure that you have adequate coverage and supervision of your delegation in the dance or the other activities over there when any of your folks come over for the family reception. And then we go again breakfast there. As I don't think I noted it, but the buses going from Towson to the aquatics venue in Cockeysville will start at 7 o'clock. So they'll get over there. And they can get over for their competitions early enough. I believe the first horn for aquatics is at 8, so that gets you over there in time to get settled and such. Competition goes roughly from 8 till 3. Again, it does vary by location or by sport. And then family hospitality will be at the individual competition venues as well in the morning. They do close down around noon. For opening ceremonies, on Friday night, dinner, of course, will be in the dining hall. Mentioned about the block party. We'll have a DJ. We're excited to have some demonstrations from a couple of the newly formed dance programs in Montgomery County and Baltimore County. The Kangaroo Kids are back. We have some street entertainers, some sports clinics, some art activities, food vendors, and such for sale. We do have some water and some beverages there as well. But with dinner being served over in the dining hall, most of the actual food is for purchase by folks who are there. Well, again, as I mentioned before, we'll start the parade staging at 6:30. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Lot 20 and the process there, it basically is the entrance is essentially on the same level as Lot 20, and it goes right into the arena. So there's no steps or stairs or anything like that. Then we'll go in for the ceremony, then come back out for the torch lighting. In the case of inclement weather, the plan, depending upon when we can make the call, the plan is to move the block party and parade staging to the Towson Center. And as I say that, it'll be whatever we can salvage from the block party, moving it indoors. There's considerably less space, of course, and need to work out or have an adequate amount of space for the torch parade formation as well. Should also note at the block party, as we did last year, for those of you who were there, we had signs posted on large stakes for each delegation that serves as a nice location for your folks to hover around as it gets close to that time, and a central gathering point in preparation for the parade staging. We do need to know, and we'll send a reminder with the slides and the recording link out, but by June 8th, it's an extended deadline from what we had announced earlier, but we do need to know the total number of delegation members at opening ceremonies from your delegation, also the number of folks who use wheelchairs or have significant mobility challenges, excuse me, and send that to your regional sports director. This is so that the folks who coordinate, the team of folks who coordinate the opening ceremonies can map out where each delegation will sit. They try to move it around as possible. It's not possible for every delegation to sit on the floor, or I mean, they're sitting on chairs, but sitting at the floor level. And some will always have to go up into the stands. But try to accommodate those delegations that have athletes who have mobility concerns as best possible. It may mean that those individuals may be sitting separate from your delegation. So Tom Humphreys, who is on the opening ceremonies team, is expected to be there on Thursday night for the head of delegation meeting and can answer any additional questions that you may have at that point. Going on to transportation, Things to keep in mind. We'll look at the schedule on the next slide. That also was included in the event guide that went out. But as I noted, there's a walking route and a walking bridge from Tubman Towson Run over to the Union. The Union Garage is open on all levels. Some years that's been closed, or portions of it have been closed. It's completely open on all levels. Mentioned about the bus stop for campus buses, or off-campus buses, at the end of the parking garage. And then note, if the bus is crowded, they have, I'm not sure how many, I think a dozen or so buses work in the loops throughout the time. If you are on a bus that is staying entirely on Towson campus, your delegation members or people on the bus can stand on the bus. However, if the bus goes off campus, any of the buses either that are going to Loyola Blakefield or to Cockeysville Middle School, no one is allowed to stand on the bus. Doesn't matter if they don't mind, it's the law. So they will not be able to pack as many folks into the buses that are going off campus as some folks may wish they could, and it's a legal issue and safety issue, of course, and so we need to abide by that. This is the bus schedule. I'm not going to try to decipher it for you. George Hergenhan, who coordinates transportation for us, will be there at the head of delegation meeting on Thursday, but it does show you the various stops and the routes that they'll be taking around campus there. At the end of opening ceremonies, the plan is very similar to what we had last year, which we think worked relatively well. There's always some issues that pop up, and there's always things that we can improve on. Is similar and described here. We'll have the buses lined up along Auburn Drive. Auburn Drive is the road that goes right in front of CQ Arena, or I guess between CQ Arena and United Stadium. They'll have them lined up there. Each individual bus will go to a single location, either the Glen Towers or the Tubman Towson Run. So be sure you're on the proper bus. They'll have signs there, and also there'll be bus marshals, if you will, helping people get on the right bus there. Again, he's estimating, I think he can line up 9 buses at a time in that space there. While he'll have additional buses running, he can only fit so many in that space there. And we'll have music playing in Lot 20 until the final bus departs. What we do ask is please listen to the MC, as noted in the first bullet, who will call your area and county by name. Please don't rush right down there to the buses. It causes more problems, and while it may initially seem more convenient for you, you're really hurting all the other delegations, as that really throws a kink into the overall operation of the process there. Olympic Park and Dance on Saturday night. Again, we'll have sports clinics, art activities. We're looking at still planning to do the movie night on Saturday. For those of you who are familiar with the Towson Center, they just completed about 2 weeks ago a complete reconstruction of the section of the Towson Center that had all the classrooms and such. They've converted it into offices and all for the athletic department. There are a couple meeting rooms that we can utilize there. We just need to kind of test it out. So our plan is to still have a movie night. We hope, which seemed to be pretty popular last year. It's a nice quiet activity for folks to utilize because not everybody wants to go into the dance or into the high energy activity. But we'll keep you posted, and we'll let you know as an update on at the head of delegation meeting on Thursday night. The dance theme is Law Enforcement Appreciation, True Blue Pride. Folks can dress up in law enforcement or just wear blue in support of our law enforcement throughout the state. And then, as mentioned before, we have the evening softball game and the home run derby on Saturday night, which was, I think, also, like I say, a rave review for that, for those of you who got to see it. And for those of you who don't know, in the home run derby, each team that has, or each delegation that has a softball team can enter one of their athletes into the home run derby, and it was pretty exciting last year. I mentioned before about healthy athletes. The main venue or the main portion of Healthy Athletes is Saturday from noon till 6 at the Towson Center, offering health screening and such free of charge. And there's 6 different functions there. Special Smiles, which looks at dental exams. It's not a full exam by any means, but they do some screening there. Fit Feet, Fun Fitness, which is just fitness activities. Opening Eyes. Actually, they decided, I believe yesterday, that they're going to relocate that in the Towson Center itself rather than in the room that's noted there. So they'll actually have it sectioned off, and they need a dark area in order to utilize that. Healthy Hearing will either be in that room 234 or will be in the main arena, and then Health Promotion. Then over at Aquatics, first time we've been able to do this, to have a remote location, if you will, for Healthy Athletes. From 10 till 3 will be Fit Feed and Health Promotion. I'm not sure of the exact location at Aquatics where that'll be held. It may be in the main gym where all the areas or all the delegations are congregating, or it may be slightly off to the side. But it's exciting. It's an extra thing for folks to do while they're there. Mentioned about family hospitality. Each competition area or venue is set to have a family hospitality area, which I think may be the first in quite some time. And then the family reception we talked about before from 7:30 to 8:30. Hopefully everybody will get a chance to come up there. The Family Facts mailing went out towards the end of last week. That got sent directly to any of the family members for whom we either had an email address or a street address. Hopefully they all came through. It's a front and back folded piece that describes different activities, gives them some basic information about summer games in case they're planning to come out. And then I mentioned before about merchandise being available at the block party and at Olympic Park. For meals, all registered delegation members will be provided lunch on Saturday and Sunday. We only provide lunch for cheerleading on Friday. No one else. So if it's a person who's registered for cheerleading, either as a coach, an athlete, whatever, then they'll have lunch on Friday. Then all delegation members who are there for the weekend will get lunch on both days, Saturday and Sunday. If a delegation member is staying overnight on campus, we know some folks are staying at a hotel or hotels nearby, but if you're staying overnight on campus, you'll be provided dinner and breakfast during the designated periods. Again, so it's breakfast or dinner on Friday and Saturday night, breakfast on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Anyone else who wants to purchase meals can do so. Breakfast is $8. They may have reduced that for us down to $7, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But you can pay that right at the register. For breakfast and dinner, similarly, you can pay at the register. That's $11. Lunch is $8. We're not making any money on this. This is what we pay Towson or Black and Gold Catering, who is the firm that Towson utilizes. But I do need to warn you that lunches are extremely limited. We don't want to be stuck with buying or paying for lunches that don't get eaten, and so we can't go and just arbitrarily order a couple hundred extra lunches for family members. But there will be some limited amount that are available. And should note there, as is put on the slide there, that at Loyola Blakefield, we're just thrilled to have this new facility, and they're really bending over backwards to make us welcome. They will be selling concessions, or planning to sell concessions on Saturday and Sunday. And I believe they're selling Chick-fil-A or reselling Chick-fil-A. I'm not sure how that works on Sunday, given Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday, but they have it worked out. So for folks who are over there, they have an additional lunch option. The control center is in United Stadium in the Minigan Room. That's the location, again, for those of you who have been there before, where it's been for the last couple years. That is sort of our office, our headquarters on campus, and is staffed at various times. The exact times are in the event guide. I believe it's 9 till 9 on Friday, 6 in the morning till 9 at night on Saturday, and 6 in the morning till 4 o'clock on Sunday. If you have any questions, if you need anything, you can either stop by there if you're on that side of campus, or you can give a call. The phone number is in the event guide, and they're sort of, like I say, they're a hub. They can get in touch with anybody. Well, let me rephrase that. They can get in touch with anybody on our games management team, and can try to assist you as possible. Delegation registration we mentioned before is on Thursday from 2 to 6. And as a reminder, because some folks still seem to do this, you do not bring your housing keys back to or to the Towson Center or to the control center. You are to return them at the front desk of your housing building. So be sure to do that. Everyone should have received all their housing information from Jane Dunn. If you haven't, please let your regional sport director know, and they'll follow up on that. As a note, and this was put out a couple times in email earlier this season, only those who are registered as a member of GMS will be housed. We're still going through and validating that to make sure no one is being housed who's not supposed to be. But also as a note there, again, this was announced a couple times in emails. If your delegation has anybody staying overnight in the dorms on campus who is not registered and who is not listed to be staying in the dorms, they're going to be, and we find out about it, they're going to be removed, and your delegation will not get housing on campus in 2017. You'll be on your own. We hate to do that, but we really need to be. We found last year there were several occasions where people were sneaking people in, or delegations were sneaking people in. So please talk to the other folks in your delegation. That is absolutely not acceptable. And hopefully that's all we need to say. And again, the reminder again, Jane wants us to remind you as many times as possible that housing keys are to return to your front desk. There is, as is noted in the event guide, there is a $75 fee that will get charged back to your delegation for any key that is not turned in, and that fee goes into effect on Monday, the day after summer games, because they need to rekey the room for the next group that's coming in hot on our heels. So make sure you get your keys turned in. I mentioned about the event guide. It's already out. We sent that to all the HODs, coaches, chaperones, and so on down the line. We had at one point said that we would send it to the entire delegation, including athlete family members and such. We got some feedback that that may not be the best route, and so to minimize confusion, because delegation leaders or area leaders may have been providing other information to their athletes or their family members. So you have the guide electronically. You can pass it on to those you wish. And if you, for some reason, would like us to send it out to your delegation, we'll do that. Or we can provide you also with the list of emails. Your regional sports director can have access to that if you need it. You'll also get 2 hard copies of that at the head of delegation meeting on Thursday night. Medical, we will have medical on site. We'll have an ambulance both at Loyola Blakefield both days, as well as an ambulance on Towson site, Towson proper, as well as medical personnel at all the venues. We actually are doing really well with medical this year, and so we're excited about that. And there will be medical on site overnight at the dorms, a person in Tower D, and then a person over at the Tubman Towson Run area. Just if you need medical, the front desk at each of those buildings knows how to contact the medical person, so just contact them, and they'll get to the medical person directly. They'll have a radio and can call them as well. They're also reminding, though, to watch for, just in general, exposure concerns and dehydration. Bring your own sunscreen. Possibly bring bug repellent. Rumor has it that if it rains a good bit down by the bocce area, there's some areas where it gets a little muggy or buggy, I guess you could say. And then encourage everybody, your athletes and everyone else, to drink throughout the day, even if they don't feel thirsty. It's surprising how quickly you can become dehydrated and not realize it. On the plus side, however, the weather for the weekend at this point in time is looking quite good. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, at this point, we're not at more than a 10% chance of rain any of those days. Saturday looked like there might have been a thunderstorm, but that's gone off the forecast. Last I checked, which was a couple hours ago, Friday's high is 78. Saturday's high is 81, and Sunday's high is 83. So, of course, anything it can change, but it's looking like we should have a pretty good weekend in store, or we have a good shot at having a good weekend there. That said, there are rain plans that are in place in the event guide. We'll go over those during the live HOD meeting. One of the key things to keep in mind with that is only Towson University staff, SOMD staff, or the games management team will activate the inclement weather plan. If you don't hear it directly, you'll from one of those or a call from the control center. We'll have all of your email, all of your cell phone numbers, and we'll reach out if we go into rain plan as well. There'll be general announcements over the main PA, et cetera. But if you just hear somebody saying that, don't necessarily take it for granted or take it as gospel unless you've heard it directly. And then just as a note, because some people are confused about this, and hopefully we won't have to deal with it, but if we do have lightning or thunder that is cited in the area, we have to wait. It's a standard Special Olympics policy. Also, I believe it's a Towson University policy as well, that we need to wait 30 minutes from the last sighting of lightning or the hearing of thunder before we can resume competition. Many of you know, or most of you know, I used to run the track venue before I came on staff, and there was one year that we waited it out. It started to look nice, and then there was just a couple cracks of thunder, and that starts the counter all over again. So it can be frustrating. I understand that. It's entirely for safety reasons, so please do share that and make sure that your folks in your delegation know that. It's as challenging, as frustrating as that may be, it is for everyone's safety, and it's far better than someone getting injured because we went out too soon. All the webinars for the pre-competition webinars for all 5 sports have all been hosted, and the recordings are posted on MySOMD with links there. They also sent, each sport sent links out to all of the coaches for their sport following the particular webinar. And then just as a reminder, as I said about the 4th time, we have the live in-person meeting for HODs on Thursday night. There's the conference call information there. We'll also send that out again when we send out these slides as a follow-up. Everyone got these slides. There's a couple minor edits, but you got these slides last week. But we'll send them out again just as a reminder for folks. So that said, that's what I had to cover, and wanted to open it up to any questions anyone here may have. So if you have your phone muted, please just unmute your phone and ask away. I'll do my best to give you an answer, and if I can't give you an answer while we're here, I'll make sure we'll find the answer for you and have someone get back to you as quickly as we can. So any questions? Okay, I'll take that as no. Hopefully you've all read the event guide and know all the information and could have done this presentation yourself. But we do like to give you that opportunity to ask questions in case something does come up. Thank you again for everything you've done all season. I am very much looking forward to seeing everybody in a few days. It looks to be a great weekend, a great event overall. And thanks much. Best of luck, and we'll see you or hear you if you're on the conference call on Thursday night. Have a great evening.